Hello guys, welcome to the next episode of Banter Blitz with me. I'm actually in a very bad shape this time, but as chronic student likes to say, when I'm in a bad shape, or at least when I say I'm in a bad shape, I usually play my best games. So let's see if it is true for today, for this episode. Let's get directly to challenges. Let me see, we have somebody I've never ever played before. Olaf says that everything is okay, probably from a technical point of view. Thank you. So let's have a look. We have already some challenges here. Want to play against somebody I've never played before. Okay, let's see. All right. Almost everybody played against me at least one game, which is interesting. So I'm going to decline the challenge from a non-premium user. Since we don't have challenges from guys I've never played before, I will just start with the very first challenge. It is the challenge from Super Bohemio. So let's play. Just checking if you can see the board. Yes, you can. Okay, so let's start. D4, knight f6. Knight to c3. Alright, so if I play d5 here, my opponent will definitely play e4. I know that from experience. So what if we play something completely different? I mean, it's definitely not my style, and it's definitely not my main choice against knight c3 and so forth, but should be interesting to try anyway. Okay, just straightforwardly playing e5. Maybe I've already made a mistake, I don't know. Let's see. So if I play knight g4, there is probably e6, which is pretty annoying. So let's just play knight to d7. I know it looks very bad after e6, but I think my position is not lost. So we still have some chances. I mean, f takes e6, queen e6, just king h8, f e6, bishop e6 the same. I'm curious if I can play knight e5 here. It makes a little sense, I suppose. So let's just take. Migtal asks, Andrey, do you play second Bundesliga? Well, I participate. It's really hard to call it, playing, because I'm doing very bad things there. As well as my team, by the way. So it's a disaster, especially the last round was just a catastrophe. I don't know if you believe or not, but I've lost with the extra rook in one of my games. So it's just very bad. It was for the first time in my life. I mean, never ever before. Never ever before I've lost something like that. Didn't read Jan's book. No. I didn't. What's the book, by the way? So white is definitely better in this position. Yeah, just a straightforward attack. I have to find my counterplay. If there is counterplay, I'm not sure. So h5 is really an annoying threat. My knight is far away. I don't know what to do. Knight c6, just h5. What's then? G takes h5, queen takes h5, queen f5, queen takes, rook takes. I have a very bad pawn structure. Yeah, position becomes really dangerous. Um, but anyway, I don't see anything better than just developing my pieces. Okay. How to Win a Rook Up. That's the name of the book. I should definitely check it. Can I play g5 here? Bishop takes g5 gives me some tempi, like after queen f5, or maybe even starting with the knight d4. I don't know. Position looks a bit strange there. If I place h6, I will probably just play bishop f6, covering that pawn. And if bishop takes, then most likely this knight d4 can be something to consider. So at least a tempo move, attacking the queen, attacking c2, maybe preparing queen f5 jump. So after all, I have some sort of advantage in development here, and I have to try to use it somehow. Because strategically my position is bad. So I have to search for some dynamic chances. Bishop takes c3 is just too much, I guess. Without such a bishop, it will be really hard to protect my king, so I guess bishop f6 should be preferred here. Well, at least h file is still closed, so my king is not that terrible as it could have become in case I give white chance to take on g6 or take on h5 myself or something like that. All right, now I think I don't have time to play anything connected with moving the bishop away. So probably queen to e6 or queen to f5 should be my move. I don't know which one is better. Let's try queen f5. I mean, just in case there is something against my king, my queen is close enough to join the defense. I'm also targeting c2 a bit, so maybe it's something. I don't know. We will see. So queen g6 feels quite comfortable for now. It's really hard to attack my queen with knights. And I'm thinking of playing knight to b4 maybe. Just attacking c2. Maybe interesting move. White is still not developed completely. So if knight f3, then g4. No, g4. Just knight to h4 at very least. It's not a move. Alright, so what about this? Knight to b4. Is it that bad? I'm just attacking c2. And by the way, I can take it with my queen as well. Simplifying the position a bit. And if c3, then knight c2 check, and then, excuse me, knight takes e3. There is also an idea of playing knight d5 and then knight to f4. Just purely central play. I don't know, it feels like black's position is not that bad after all. By the way, what's interesting, all three pawns on the queen side are hanging now. a2, b2, and c2. Doesn't mean that I have a chance to take one of them. But after rook c1, I think I can do something like this. So first knight takes a2, and then knight back to b4, attacking c2 again. So kind of, you know, tempo action. Yeah, rook c2 is probably too passive. Now knight back. c2 is under attack again. I'm a pawn up now. Let's take the second pawn. Then we will capture that bishop. Yeah. It's two extra pawns. I think it's a winning position, but I don't have a lot of time. There is one more pawn hanging, so let's take it as well. Back to g6, 3 pawns, right? Okay. Looks very good for black. lot of, you know, dark squared weaknesses for my bishop to attack. Okay, so to take that pawn or just to put the bishop on d4, that's an interesting question. So let's take one more. It's probably too greedy, but at the same time, I don't see a reason why not. And now to d4. This looks just great. 4 extra pawns, right? And the knight on e3 is going to be... no. It's not going to be anything. Okay, so bishop e5, knight takes g4. Then bishop goes to g3 most likely. Starting... creating some checkmating threads or something, I don't know. Let's see. Bishop d4 attacking 2 knights. This is probably a decisive thing. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, white sacrificed a lot of material in this game. So when the things went wrong, that's an interesting question. So after f takes c6, bishop e6, white's position looked very good. Bishop e3 was also all right. Knight to b6, rook to d1, everything looks just fine. Maybe simple knight to f3 followed by castling was the best way to play here. I don't want to say that black's position is lost, but you know, having such a pawn structure is a long-term disadvantage, and I think white could have, you know, solved all his problems by simple means. So knight f3, castling, then bishop d4, maybe bishop d4 right now. But right now, it's kind of problem in case I play e5. So you cannot probably... oh, it's... yeah, it's not possible to take, I think. It's too risky, at least. Don't know. So bishop d4, at some point, it should be a good idea. Just to get rid of this bishop g7. Maybe it works right now, tactically. I don't know. So after e5, we have to calculate a lot. So like bishop e5, rook e8, bishop g7, king g7, knight e4. And then probably white is okay, having a pawn. And protecting the knight with the f3 or something like that. Yeah, but white definitely overestimated his chances at some point. So h4 also looks very promising. But after g5, I believe bishop takes g5 was good. I'm not sure I have anything. I mean, knight d4 looks nice, but then queen goes to the center, let's say. Control in c2, control in f5 square. So if I play queen f5 and just queen takes queen. In this case, of course, I can take with the rook attacking the bishop, and knight c2 is still here. But still, I don't believe in this. So like h6 should be considered to start with. It looks very strong. Don't know. Yeah, not so simple position, of course, but I somehow believe that white has to be better, at least a bit. Okay. Yeah, but after, I mean, h6, bishop f6, I felt already very comfortable. Probably here, yeah, there was a last chance to get slightly better chances after knight takes f6, e takes f6, because my position is quite vulnerable here on the king side. You have a bishop, and maybe it's still okay for white. Maybe it's still something that can give white some chances to fight for initiative, for some sort of advantage. I have no idea. But I definitely don't like this knight g3 move, where after my pieces are placed pretty good. Okay. So after c3, I believe position has to be more or less balanced, but we should never forget I'm ahead in development. I'm going to play g4, stopping your knight on g1 for some time. I'm already controlling something in the center, so quite quickly this position may become pretty annoying for white. Okay. All right. Anyway, thank you for the game. Thank you for the experience. Let's have a look at the situation with challenges. So declining challenges from non-premiums. Let's see. Do we have, again, somebody I've never played before? Brazo or Brazzo. Accept. Never played before. And black pieces again. E4, E5. Knight F3, knight to C6. Italian game. So D3 or D4, or castling simply. Okay. So let's just play D6. D3 and now A6. So with a slight transposition, we got this very popular position. So, trying to eliminate this light squared bishop, which is, I believe, the key piece. So here's the question from Bjorn. The poor people without premium deserve no 5 minutes of fun. Actually, it's just the rule of the show, so you can watch. But you can play only if you're premium. I'm sorry, but that's the rule number 1 here. If we talk about accepting challenges, okay? I don't want to say you don't deserve some fun or something, but rules are rules, all right? So knight bd2, rook to e8. Before and bishop goes away to a7. Queen to b3. Now I can play b5, by the way. And I'm really tempted to try that because it feels like a natural idea to stop b4. It works after queen b3 because bishop is pinned now. It starts feeling that white is a bit stuck with the development, but it can be solved like in 2 moves. I don't think that ab5 was necessary actually, because now I have a threat of just winning the exchange. So it's 1 more tempo. I mean, white can solve it with bishop b2 or bishop a3, but both look pretty ugly. So bishop doesn't belong to that square. I think it's a good moment for me to try to start the attack. But I have to be careful. Maybe d4 is a threat. Is it really dangerous? I'm not sure. What I wanted to try here is to play something like knight h5, but I probably lose a control over d5 square, and this may backfire after something like queen d5, knight e7, queen b7. Starts looking very bad. Okay, so d5 is still important. Should I play d5 here? It's an interesting question. Not entirely sure what the result. This operation ed5, knight takes d5, and knight goes to e4. So it doesn't look like I want to give white this freedom. Maybe I should start with, bishop b6 move, trying to clarify the things with the a file. I know I give up a file if white wants, he can take on a8 and then just play rook a1. But at the same time, I'm getting rid of this annoying pressure on my bishop on a7. Alright, rook takes a1, rook takes a1, and now knight takes e4. Looks interesting. Maybe I'm missing something, but it feels like a pawn. Now let's take it. Knight on h4 is vulnerable. That's the whole point. And after knight e4, queen h4, rook a8 check, I just go to h7 and I feel fine. Queen d5 and knight e7, yeah, looks like extra material. Queen d5. Alright, so b5 drops. b5 drops. But b5 is not necessarily that important pawn. I mean, the central one is always much more important, I guess. Moreover, there were some ideas based on attacking the knight. Actually, next move with the f5, let's say. And then f2 maybe under pressure. Queen b7, wow. Interesting, so what's the point? Probably to play queen b8, I don't know. But what if I just ignore the thing and play f5, queen goes to b8? Just take c4, queen h8 is the only possible check, then I go to g6. Queen goes to e8 check. And what is there? Can I escape checks? Huh. Maybe there is a perpetual. King goes to f5 then. Starts looking very dangerous. Oh my god. Alright, I don't know. Let's try it anyway. No, I think I cannot escape the perpetual. Or maybe I can, so... Alright, so I decided to play this. Queen b8 was very interesting, so we'll discuss this soon after the game will be finished. So now, just simplifying the stuff to avoid this perpetuals and so forth. So I should have some extra material, right? Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at this gorgeous knight. That's amazing. It's always a big pleasure to play something like this. Such a cool knight. Against such a bad bishop. Just almost completely limited. Yeah. Positionally it's over, but I probably don't have enough time to convert it, but we'll see. So, looks good anyway. g4. Yeah, it's lost. So, first of all, I lost my chat, so I have to fix that to see what you write there. If you do that, okay, the chat is back. Let's have a look at queen b8 moment. I mean, after white played knight to g3, everything was clear, more or less. So queen to b8 was interesting chance, and I thought that was the main idea behind white's queen b7 move, right? So the point is, after this, there is no queen g8, but there is queen to h8, and after king g6, queen goes to e8 check. And it's a good question if I can escape perpetual. So I don't think I can play king f5 or king f6. Well, king f6 is possible, but then queen goes to f8, at least with the perpetual. I think the only chance for me to fight for something is to play king to g5. But at very first glance, it looks extremely dangerous. Fortunately, after bishop c1, I have e3. And I think only because of this, I can avoid sort of punishment, I don't know. But even here, things are not clear to me after queen f7, for instance. In which case, however, I can try this move. So I want to take on f2 again. And if queen g7, then knight g6. It feels like my king is protected, more or less, right? f2 is hanging, I have extra minor piece. So most likely I'm fine here, right? So, maybe it was possible. I somehow didn't see king g5 immediately. I thought of, playing king f5 during the game. But then queen f7 is very annoying. And then after, say, rook f6, something like g4. But maybe even this is good. I mean, if queen e7, then queen takes f2 with a checkmate, most likely. And if g4, king f4, bishop to c1, even king f3 works fine. Nice position. So king is attacking here. Yeah, most likely even king f5 was good. The thing is, I didn't see somehow this resource of e3. I thought bishop c1 check will be just decisive in each and every line. I didn't see e3. In my mind, there was no pawn on e4 somehow. But that's okay. Happens. All right. Let's go further. So knight h4 beat earlier in the game was obviously a mistake. So give him a chance to take on e4. So do we have somebody else I've never played before? Let's see. 2 games. 35 games. 9 games already played. Nice. Hope well culture advocate. Accept. And I'm playing as white. e4. So, the first game with white pieces. Let's try to be active. If there is a chance, of course, because my opponent is playing classics. So, let's see. b4. So bishop g5, just trying to provoke h6 because I believe it may be kind of weakness a bit later. Not h6, but g6 square. And now, just castling and using the AF file. Queen e1, knight h4, then knight f5, queen g3, checkmate on g7. Something like that. I mean, more or less. So a5 first, because after d6, pawn was protected and black was ready to play knight a5, let's say. Pretty annoying move. And white is ready to castle and use the f-file, just as I said before. Queen e7. Preparing bishop to e6. Probably responsible to play bishop e6 immediately. Most likely responsible. So to play bishop a4 or not to play that? Maybe it's a good idea just to save my bishop on the board for some time. So let's try it. It's a tempo move, so why not? Alright, knight d2. Knight a5 doesn't work because of bishop d7, rook takes a5. Castles. Knight a5 is still not a threat. So we can focus on our plan, I think. Queen e1 is good. Preparing knight h4, avoiding the same mistake like in the previous game. My opponent played knight h4, but knight h4 was not protected, so knight e4 was a move. Alright, knight a5 leads to bishop takes d7. Exactly what I said before. Just extra minor piece, no compensation at all. Okay. Extra minor piece. Nice. And d6 is weak. So now after knight h4, knight f5, I will have not only g7 and then h6 to attack, but also d6. Rook is protected by the knight, so queen c7 was not a threat. d5 I just take. And then knight f5. Yeah, black's position is full of weaknesses, so it's not a big problem to convert extra minor piece. There is also a threat, maybe, of just taking an f6, gf6, and then knight f5, also with a quick checkmate. Yeah, it's a lost position for black. So what happened? Rook b8. Most likely intending to run away with the king. So rook f6, gf6, knight f5, king f8, queen g3, king e8, queen g8, king d7. Queen takes f7, king goes to c6 or something. It should be somehow checkmated there as well. I'm just curious if it works. Obviously, knight f5 is absolutely winning. But rook f6, gf6, knight f5, king runs away, queen g3, king runs away again, queen g8, king d7, queen f7, king to c6, queen to d5, king goes back to d7, then knight takes d6. Okay, let's try it. I mean, why not? Absolutely unnecessary sacrifice, but looks nice anyway. Generally speaking, of course, when you have extra material, you don't have to sacrifice anything. You just have to convert this extra material. You don't need all these unnecessary risks. But this knight looks so great that it's really hard to stand. Takes. Alright. So now a key question. How to checkmate the guy? Queen d5, king goes back to d7. And knight takes d6 should be decisive. If I play knight to e7 now, where the king goes to b7. then queen d5. King goes to a7, and then knight c6. Yeah, this is right. This is right. Nice coordination of pieces. Okay, queen d5. c6 is controlled by the knight. And c8 is covered as well, so king is forced to a7. Now, rook a6, king a6 doesn't lead anywhere. So knight c6 should be played, right? I don't see an immediate checkmate, so let's play knight c6. So now we have knight takes d6, right? Yeah, looks great. And queen c5 should be checkmate, right? Yeah, look at this position. Knights are controlling a7, b7, so all white's pieces are coordinated to deliver a checkmate. Looks good. Obviously, knight takes a5 was losing. So after that, I had extra minor piece and absolutely winning position. As I said before, this rook f6 was not necessary, absolutely, but was nice, right? To coordinate the knights, to show the power of knights in such a position when the pawn structure is completely weak. Okay, let's go further. Let's have a look at somebody else I've never ever played before. Here is Sadek. So let's play Sadek. And black pieces again. e4, e5. So Ruy Lopez, Scotch, Italian again. Maybe something more aggressive. Don't know. Let's see. So Ruy Lopez now. Classics. Now white has a choice between classic c3 and modern approaches like a4 or something. Okay, so we're still playing classics. h6. Smyslov. So the idea is to cover g5 and hence prepare rook to e8, be not worried about knight to g5 move. Then bishop will go to f8, and at some point after g6 to g7. Main idea behind this rook e8 is to overprotect e5 and to exert indirect pressure on e4. I cannot take on d4 and e4 immediately because of bishop d5 at the end of the line. So we're just starting with this sort of stuff. So we have protected e5, now it's time to counterattack in the center. So black is a bit ahead in development, but it's not a big problem for white because position is not that open, right? Bishop to e3. Okay. We can play different moves here as black. I prefer queen c7 again, overprotecting e5, preparing something like rook 8 to d8. Maybe supporting pawn in going to c4. And then bishop c5 or something. Knight to h4. So what's the point, first of all? One is going to put the queen on f3 and then create a threat of bishop h6. Knight is going to f5 as well. So what we play g6, queen f3, and then just knight to h7? Is it something can be considered? I think yeah. Because from h7, this knight can go to g5 and then at some point to e6. Centralizing, controlling f4. Now I can grab the bishop and I will do that. So just knight c4 and bishop has no squares to go away and avoid the exchange. And grabbing such a bishop which controls all dark squares is very good for white. Sorry, for black. I'm playing with black this game. Come on. That's why b3 was a good idea at some point, just to limit my knight, to prevent this knight c4. And that's why I didn't play knight c4 immediately after bishop e3, because in that case, white can just go back to c1, creating a sort of b3 followed by bishop somewhere. But in this case, I'm just grabbing the guy. And I believe this is a huge achievement. Now let's try to activate a dark squared one. So just c4, preparing bishop c5. Alright, b4 is a natural reaction. We can activate this bishop through b6 potentially. I'm just curious if I have to start it immediately or I should do something else in this position. So I can see a clear possibility to play queen c6, then bishop d6, bishop c7, and my bishop is there, where I want it to be. That's interesting to me. Can I play this like this? Or it's too much? I don't know. Let's see. So Miktal asks, what was the first word of your son? Checkmate. Nope. Fortunately, it was just a normal mama. I would be scared if it would have been this checkmate or something chess related. My god. Okay, so white is saying that, okay, you can play bishop b6, but then d6 square will be weak. Yeah. Can be. Can be the problem for me. So how to deal with this d6 square? Is it really important? Or I can still play like bishop b6 then. Rook e6. I don't like it, to be honest. So probably I have to fight for d-file as well. So let's just put the rook on d8 first. Then maybe bishop to c8 or something. Then bishop b6. That's the plan. But bishop c8 doesn't work. So most likely I have to put my queen on e6 as well. Bishop c8 doesn't work because of rook d8, rook d8, rook d8, bishop d8, knight takes e5. Annoying stuff. Okay, now e5 is not a problem anymore. So First of all, king g7 protecting the knight, because white was going to play queen f3, I believe. Right, queen e2 is played. And now bishop c8, yeah. Knight to g4. Okay, this weakens pawn structure. And this may backfire, so let's bring our queen to the king side to attack g4. Alright. Bishops will decide in this game. First bishop b6, just in time before white played a5, depriving me of that diagonal. And now bishop takes g4. Does it work? Bishop g4, queen g4, queen takes f2, king goes to h2, only move. Then queen takes c2. So I win kind of 2 pawns, right? But then there is this knight h5, pretty annoying. So I guess it's better just to play queen g5. Attacking g4 and preparing queen to c1 or queen to d2. Much stronger. And safer, what's important. And now I can take on f2 and play queen f4. Yeah, now it's safe. And loss for white as well. Okay, interesting game, but there was one very serious mistake, positional one. So queen c1 was okay, attacking h6, but after king h7, I do believe you should have played b3. Covering c4, saving your bishop on the board. And now you have some ideas like playing f4, for example. So the position is absolutely unclear to me. Of course, after b3, you weaken c3, and I can play something like knight c6 followed by b4 and then occupying d4, but it takes time. And you already have some ideas connected with f4 and sort of active play on the king side. So knight to f3 was just a terrible move from a positional point of view, and this actually caused all your next problems. Most likely there was a way for you to play better than you did to minimize, my advantage, but it's 100% after knight c4, I have an advantage already because of pair of bishops and mainly because of my dark squared 1, which now has no counterpart. And as you can see, there are several possibilities to activate it. So through h6, through c5, through b6, and once it is activated, it becomes a problem. Okay? Let's go further. Now I think just normal order of challenges. Bertus, Maximus, 3 minutes. Okay. So I have to play faster in this one. Otherwise I will lose on time. Mikhail says it looked equal. Looked. The key word. It was not. A6. Alright. Bishop g5 was also interesting try. Don't know. Why didn't I play that? Now we have what? Interesting hybrid of several lines. So should I play knight d2 here? No, I don't think so. Let's just castle. Alright. Queen is there. I don't know why, I'm just tempted to play this move. Just protecting the bishop and prepare potential knight c4 with the occupation of d5 square. But my opponent played knight g4, simplifying the task. Knight takes e3. Feels very strange. So if knight c7, knight takes d1, knight takes a8. What's going on there? Am I just an exchange up? I guess so. Let's do it. Alright, extra exchange. Now I'm not sure if this knight will be very safe. So what if I just go here? Ah, it was not necessary. There is knight d4. Yeah, too greedy. Bishop d5 was the right square. Now my knight is in trouble, sort of. But bishop d8 is probably a mistake. Very strange game. Was not necessary. Again, knight d4 deserved serious attention. Now I'm a rook up, right? But I told you that I've lost the game being a rook up 1 week ago or something. No, it was not even a week ago. It was just several days ago. So my opponent has all the motivation to keep on playing. Because I can lose it. I can lose this position. It's an extremely dangerous material relationship now. So being a rook up is not easy. It's a serious burden. Rook f6, okay. Rook b8. And now let's sacrifice the extra rook. Rook a6. Now, of course, it's not a sacrifice, but looks like the one. Alright. Too many blunders from both sides, I believe. So first of all, this knight g4 was not correct because of knight d5. Because if black doesn't take on e3, well, I'm just having overwhelming position. If queen d8, then bishop b6, same as after queen a5. Alright, knight takes e3, knight takes c7, knight takes here, knight takes here, knight b2. So here, obviously, bishop d5 was the right move. Active square, I don't know why I played this bishop e2, which was just pathetic. Bishop d5, bishop is protected. There is a threat of this rook b1, which is very annoying. It's really hard for black to avoid it. Rook a2 is another threat. And my knight has b6 and c7 squares, so everything's fine. After bishop e2, there is a chance for black to play knight d4, tempo move, attacking c2, and attacking the bishop. So if I play bishop d3, at least there is knight takes d3. I still think I'm better, so at very least I have an exchange up. And I can play a5 to have this b6 square for my knight. But anyway, it was the best chance. After bishop d8, again, I don't know. I played rook to b1. There was still this knight d4. And I think I have to take on b2. But maybe here I can try something like this. Bishop f1, because after knight takes c2, I can play a rook a2. And that is trapped anyway. Yeah, I think this position is already bad. So knight d4 immediately. Could be sort of chance for black. Alright. Olaf is the next. And white pieces. So another Caro-Kann, I suppose. Okay. Let's see what my opponent prepared for this game. Maybe just the same like every time. So white's plan is simple. I'm just preparing the attack. Gradually on the king side. So when I put my knight on e5, looks very natural. start of active operations there. The question is to support this knight with the f4. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. Because I have additional resource in the form of f5. Opening files and diagonals. So you can probably hear my son in the background. Most likely he is training to say a checkmate. Well, in any case, he's having fun. Knight takes e5. Alright, now it's the question. To take with the f pawn or to take with the d pawn? Both look pretty interesting because in case of d takes c5, we have very typical French-like pawn structures. And then after knight d7, we exchange bishops. We play knight f3, knight d4 quickly. In case of f takes c5, well, bishop is very bad there on b7. There are no chances to activate him. But I'm not sure that my knight will find a good square. On the other hand, it should be good anyway. So let's do that. Now the question is how to continue the attack. So maybe to bring the knight to h5 or something. Don't know. Let's start with the rook. If black decides to play f5, I will just take and bring my knight to f3 to occupy e5. Yeah, just like in this case. I think it's much more logical now than to bring the knight to h5. It takes time. I mean, this maneuver, knight f1, knight g3, knight h5. Alright, now let's just put the knight on f3. Probably queen e2 is a bit more accurate to start with. Don't know if there is a big difference. So this guy should be here on e5. Maybe I'm too optimistic about my position. Don't know. Queen h4 was interesting, just creating a sort of rook to, queen to f2. But this is also a move, of course. But here I think I'm fine after just queen e1, covering everything. And what's really important, after rook f2, I have bishop takes e4, protecting g2 and grabbing the rook next move. So everything is under control. Yeah. Interesting situation. So everything is about the bishop, which is on b7, very limited and pretty passive. And my knight on e5, which is great. So at some point I will definitely just take the knight on e4, and I will feel very good. In this case, though, bishop gets d5 square, so I have to be careful. But anyway, I think it's worth doing. So queen h4, knight g6, queen e7 the same, queen f6 is a move, but here I thought I would have rook g6, but now I can see that queen f5 is something that doesn't look pretty clear. But then I have queen g3 attacking g7. This may be very annoying for black because I don't see a clear defense after that. So how to cover g7 now? Really hard to say. Queen f8, I just take on g7, take on f4 at very least. There is also, you know, a bunch of other moves. Like rook h6 should be winning here. Rook takes e6 should be winning. Which is better? Tell me. Rook h6 is probably good. Just creating sort of rook h8. And then knight g6, or maybe knight g6 first. Should be just lost for black now. Bishop is out of play. It's just offside. That's the main problem. So check. Next move, knight g6. Next move, knight f8. Next move, queen takes e3. There is no checkmate on f1. So queen for the rook and the minor piece. I don't know. Should be gradually winning. I mean, I'm controlling everything here, so should be fine. But it's not that simple. I mean, it's not an automatic win. I have to demonstrate some technique. I guess this is the right way to do the things, just to simplify position a bit. Rook f1 was probably more accurate, just to avoid unnecessary complications here. Let's cover g2. I think it's my most vulnerable square. Then occupy h2 with the king. So here's bishop c4. Then I will play rook e3 and rook to g3, right? Oh my god, what's going on? Oh my goodness, this is so blunderish. Look at this, what I've done. And just imagine another rook to f2, and it's just winning for black. I mean, rook f6 to f2, I have no squares for my queen. Oh my fucking god, that's amazing. That's how we lose our games. I mean, that's how I lose with extra rook, for instance, and so forth. It's just you know, a disaster. Complete disaster. Another rook to f2 was winning for black. My god. What a patzer I am. Demonstrating the technique. Can you imagine? It's just amazing shit, huh? How's that possible? I mean, just don't understand. How's that possible to play so badly? Still unclear, by the way. My god, I lost the chat. Just pretty symptomatic. Just a complete mess on the board. Alright, but at least I'm not losing here, which is good already. Or maybe I do, I don't know. No, after this move I definitely don't. Oh, God. Check. 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 H5. Oh, check. And takes the rook. Yeah. I won, but I was about to lose. That's fantastic how you can misplay such a position. So look at this. Another rook to f2. My queen is trapped. If I play rook e2, just rook takes e2. So two rooks, minor piece against the queen. Absolutely winning position for black. Fantastic bullshit. I mean, rook e2 is very bad. But this position is unclear, in fact. This position is unclear. I should have played something else here. I guess this rook h8 was a mistake after all. Knight g6 immediately probably was just winning. I don't know why didn't I consider this move. Just attacking the queen immediately and attacking the rook at the same time. So if queen somewhere, I just take the rook on f4. No risk whatsoever. Except for probably queen f6. If I take the rook, then queen takes rook. Most likely here I have to play this, and after king there, I just do what? I just take the rook first, and then knight takes f4. Yeah, and it's time to resign for black. It's just time to resign. Rook h8 looked so safe. I don't know. But that resulting position was not clear. The bishop is very strong, right? Became very strong after e3, so I didn't have a lot of possibilities to activate my rook. Probably I should have played something like a4 at some point, not even bringing my rook to e1. There was nothing to do on e1. Also, there was a nice moment where I could have simplified the position easily. So here, after rook f6, why didn't I play this move? I don't know. I have no idea. Like rook f1. If rook f1, king f1, it's safe already. And this rook on e4 is kind of misplaced. Yeah, and if rook g6 or something, then rook f2 is safe. Yeah, now I'm safe, pretty safe. But not the way I played it. That was just a bullshit. All right, Olaf, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the game. Was hard. e4, e5. Okay, let's play Philidor defense. Let's go here. Oops. Antoshan system with the bishop on e7. Quick castling. And then rook e8, bishop f8, attacking e4. So just like in real opus, but you have already played e takes d4. Which is not a big advantage for black. Rook e1, bishop f8. Attacking e4. Okay, bishop f3. Interesting. Most likely with the idea of g3, bishop g2 at some point. Okay. Let's see what we can do with that stuff. c6 is probably forced more or less to avoid knight d5 and then knight e5 is becoming interesting to try at some point. First of all, let's stop the pawn on a4. Because I want to put my queen on b6 at some point. And I want to prevent a4, a5 with the help of this a7, a5 push. Queen there. Okay. Is it a good time for me to try knight to e5? I think it is. So knight c4 is a threat. Knight f3 was a threat. And another idea was to put the knight on g6 with the tempo, attacking the bishop and e4 pawn. That is what my opponent didn't notice, I believe, that e4 was hanging. So now I'm a pawn up, which is good result for Philidor defense. Now I think d5 should be played. Oh, Max Boaraba is here. Guten Abend. So d5. Now bishop c5 looks tremendous. But then c3, so what? On the other hand, that's a good square for my bishop. I cannot explain that, but I really want to play some like bishop takes d4 here. cd4 and then what? Bishop f5. Simple as that, but I know it's not correct. From a positional point of view, it shouldn't be good. So instead we should actually play something like this. Exerting additional pressure on d4 as well as f4, so on, so forth. f5. I guess I can take it. Yeah. Now it starts looking like bishop d4. Just a good move. Simplifying the things gradually. Bishop g4. Bishop takes g4, rook takes g4. Or just rook to e8. I like this move. If bishop d3, I will just take on the e1. I will exchange everything, including this bishop on d3. And we'll continue with the conversion of my 2 extra pawns. If bishop doesn't move, then we'll see. Maybe I will just increase pressure. All right, so it's lost. Well, I didn't notice knight g6, knight e4, I guess. So after knight e5, after knight to e5, where's that? Yeah, here white should have played something else. Also, I personally prefer just playing something like g3 here. First, bishop g2, like saying, okay, I have no problems here with my bishop anymore, and if you play knight e5, I can even consider playing f4. That's the thing. And I'm thinking of the development of the dark squared bishop. Sometimes it's okay to play b3 and bishop b2. All right. So it's also a good position for the guy. And just enjoy the position with extra space. I guess bishop f3 followed by bishop g5 is sort of mixing different plans. Not very good in general. On except e4. d4, f3. So the point is, I have this possibility to grab a bit more space. That's why not knight c3, but exactly f3. What's next? Let's play this. At first glance, stupid, but at the same time, the move, which is quite aggressive, and I'm just fighting for space. And you know, I love space. We're not going to attack on the king side. We're just going to complete the development and enjoy position with what? With extra space. Alright, knight d7, not actually taking on b6 with the queen. What's the point? Black was probably worried about, I don't know what actually. Here I can play c5, actually protecting the pawn on b6, and I think that is what should be played here. Why not? Having such a great pawn there is a big achievement. It's just an amazing asset for white already. Now the question is how to convert the almost decisive advantage. I think taking on d8 is not very logical, because in that case, after rook d8, there is some sort of knight e3 play. So I guess queen a4, queen c2 is probably a safe choice. Like protecting d3, avoiding an exchange, and intending to play, don't know what. There are many ideas, many moves. After bishop e6, I can take on a6, but it would be too much. I'm not developed at the moment. So I have to think of how to complete my development, I suppose. This should be my first task to accomplish. Alright, so let's play this move. Queen c8, and now knight e2. So I've covered this d3, okay, to avoid knight to d3 check. Knight c4 is not necessarily that dangerous to me, I suppose. And then knight to d4. Gradually completing the development. Once my development is complete, it's over for black, because such a pawn on b6 is just a monster, okay? a5. b7 wins. b7 wins, doesn't it? Queen b7, knight takes e6. Rook d1. Queen d1. No, it's not so clear, by the way. Black can sacrifice some material there. Would have been nice, right? So just b7, queen b7, knight e6 takes, and then bishop c4, but there is rook d1. Maybe I can take with the knight there, though. So b7, queen b7, knight e6, rook d1, knight takes d1. It's pretty safe. Yeah, should be winning. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, have no time, but we're playing with the increment, right? So I'm fine. All right. I expected rook d1, and that's why I didn't play b7 immediately. I was not sure, but then there was knight takes d1 covering everything. So it's lost now for black. Absolutely lost. I mean, there is no chance, no single chance to save this guy. Because what's this? It's just extra minor piece and no compensation whatsoever. Got no weaknesses, my friend. No weaknesses here. Let's just complete the development. So can I take on e6 here? That's an interesting question. King e6, queen c4, king f6. It's not necessary, I know, but it's so tempting. I can't stand. So the king is almost checkmated, right? Almost checkmated king. So where's my checkmate? So e5, knight e... Oh, I don't know. I have no time to calculate this shit. So let's just go there and hope for a checkmate somewhere. Where is the checkmate? Got no idea. Somewhere here. Was not professional, just like I've lost my game with the extra rook in Bundesliga. Same crap. But my opponent helped me a bit. I think that knight to e5 was still like fighting for something. There should be checkmate, right? The king is completely weak and so forth. Okay, so knight to d7, terrible mistake, my friend. So just had given me a chance to play c5. Oh my god, with such a pawn on b6, you have no chances whatsoever. All right. Who's next? Schrummel. Wow, we have not played for a long time. That's cool. You've challenged. G3, D5. E6. When you know the mate is there but have only 30 seconds, I had more than 30 seconds. I had 2 seconds per move. So. we were playing with increment, which was helpful. But you never know, of course. After king e8, I guess just anything. It was just a pawn, right? Was just a pawn. Very nice one to grab. Something. Just improving the position. Extra minor piece and so forth. Do I have some coffee? Yeah, still. For one sip. But we're getting to the end of the show. And I was not defeated. That's strange, taking into account my form. That's amazing. I'm surprised. Okay, let's take here. There is no knight d5 tactics anymore since I have the pawn on a5. So my rook can go to a7. It's nice to understand. Nice to realize. Because every time when you play knight f to d7 in closed Catalan, you have to calculate this shit on d5. With the pawn on a5, you don't have to. Right. Now let's take here. Let's play knight c6. So what do we have here? Knight takes e5. What's that? Knight takes d5 is planned. Perhaps. Don't know. So let's start with rook c8, protecting the knight on c6. Maybe completing a development with queen d7, rook to d8. And then we will see. So I like the fact that my bishop on a6 is quite good. It's better than that bishop on b2, I believe. No, this should be a bit better. But you never know. So after knight a4, I'm no longer that sure that my position is that great. This pawn on b6 is a bit weak. Alright. It's probably not a big deal, but still a bit annoying. And this definitely stops me from playing moves I wanted to play, like queen d7. Probably rook c8 was not very accurate. Probably queen d7 was a bit more accurate to start with. To have queen b7 against knight to a4. Alright. It's no longer possible to change anything. Can I play queen c7? Ignoring this rook on c1. I guess no. It will be too risky after e4. And d4, bishop takes d4, rook to d8, looks completely unclear. Can always play bishop b5, of course, but it doesn't look very good. Bishop b7 is also not very nice. Oh. This knight to a4 is kind of annoying. Well, I don't know. Hard to coordinate your pieces here. I mean, not your pieces, but my pieces, okay? I think if White wanted to just, repeat moves with knight c3, knight a4, there was a chance. Now I have some ideas how to fight for sort of advantage, but I guess there is no advantage whatsoever, so I believe this position is pretty balanced. White has pair of bishops. I have slightly better pawn structure, maybe. E5 is handy. I guess white has only one defense. Yeah. Let's complete centralization. I don't really want to play d4, but it starts feeling that I have nothing except for d4 move at the right moment. I don't see anything else. Knight e7 followed by knight f5. Well, we can try that, of course, but it doesn't feel like anything specific. Moreover, it feels like white can prevent it if he wants like g4. It's just all right. Yeah. I misplayed at some point. So rook c8 doesn't look good. Queen d7 was correct, and in that case, if knight a4, then rook b8, and then another rook to c8. That was the right way to play that position. But I underestimated the power of knight a4 move. Knight a4 appeared very strong. Yeah. Interesting. I didn't expect that. Because usually I play this position with my pawn on a7, so knight a4 is never that dangerous. This time it was with the pawn on a5, and that's why it's different. Alright, position has changed dramatically. Let's go this way. So I think white will regret this maneuver. Bishop d4, bishop c5 was a bad idea, because now I have pretty dangerous pawns. So as I said before, it was just okay to try. Yeah, with the bishop on b2, rook on c1 was protected, so there was no bishop e3 threat, and white could have played just g4, preventing knight f5. If it was dangerous. So now, what is the right move? Let's try this one. Yeah, the point, knight takes f5 and queen is pinned, so just extra pawn. Now I guess this move should be very annoying. Yeah, pawns are moving, and white is gonna lose this anyway, sooner or later. Okay? Take the knight. It was not possible to take the knight. If you are about queen takes f5, well, queen is pinned. Okay? There is king on g1. Alright, so yeah, let's get back to the opening stage where I played badly. Here, rook c8 appears not very good. That was the right move, protecting the knight. I'm not afraid of e4 because of d4. If knight goes to a4, the difference compared to our game, we have this simple move, and we have no problems with coordinating our pieces. Just rook to c8 next move, and everything's fine, more or less. If I need, I can play queen b7 as well, protecting the pawn. So, yeah, The difference here, if I play rook c8 and I go to a4, it's hard to make the next move. So queen cannot move to d7. Without queen to d7, it's hard to bring another rook to the game. I don't want to play b5 because of knight to c5. So, not so simple to find a good continuation. That's the point. All right, Miktal says no b4. After c4, I've attacked the queen. So if you take the knight here, I take the queen. I'm an exchange up. Here there is check. So here I'm already on d4. There is no chance for white to take the knight without material losses. All right. I hope I answered your question. Okay. Yeah. One more thing after, not here, a bit earlier. Yeah, after knight a4, bishop b5, a3. First of all, knight c3 was just good enough for a draw if you wanted, but I understand you wanted to play for a win. So yeah, here, after queen b3 and knight e7, it was possible just to play g4, I believe. I don't see anything wrong with that. So you gradually start the attack here. You can play rook f1, f5 even. You have pair of bishops, you want to open up a position. And I think you have all the chances to do that. And what's important, my knight remains passive. I don't attack anything in your camp. Even knight f5 was not a real attack, but it was sort of, improvement for black. Here after g4, there is nothing. If I play knight g6, let's say you just make one accurate move. King h1 preventing knight takes f4. And my knight on g4 is not necessarily that good. Oh, sorry, on g6. Maybe it's also possible just to protect f4 somehow. So let's say this way. I also don't see anything for black here. Anything decisive at least. All right. Anyway, thank you for the game. Thank you all for being with me, for actually joining the show, commenting, doing everything you usually do. Yeah, wish you all the best for the coming weekend, and hopefully see you next week with Training Tuesday on Tuesday and Banter Blitz on Thursday, just as usual. Okay. For now, that's it. Bye-bye.